Welcome to Paranormal Heroics with your host, Hero Brown.
Because I immediately forgot to turn up the mic. Welcome back, guys. I do that every time. Welcome back to Paranormal Heroics. Who's ready to tell some ghost stories? Immediately, all the time, I get excited. I forget to push buttons every time. I'll get there eventually. One day I'll hire somebody to help me out with the soundboard. Oh, man. So, here on Paranormal Heroics, I get to interview people about their ghost stories or paranormal experiences, maybe even some skinwalkers or some aliens in the future. Who knows, right? So, like, the door's open for a lot of this, and I welcome anybody to come and join me. And tonight's going to be the first on Paranormal Heroics. We are going to be doing a live interview. As you see, there is a second awesome chair already here that's like glowing in the distance. And so we had to change things up in here. So please let me know how the audio sounds. Hopefully we don't get no echoing or anything like that. It is the first time ever setting anything up like this. So without further ado, my first guest live with me today is none other than Miss Lady Ray. Come on and join us.
Hello.
Look at her. Gorgeous. Miss Lady Ray, this is my awesome wife of 20 years.
20 years.
We've been married for 20 years. Been together...
Almost 23 years come this July.
There you go. See, she knows what I'm already going to say. So, yeah, let's dive into this thing. We already have history. You weren't going out with me yet when the old house of my grandma's house was already knocked down, right? Okay.
Yeah, it was after it was knocked down.
So, and even though the new house is up and going. But quick shout out to everybody in the stream. Chaotic Goblin, my brother. Love always seeing you. And I see Deadeye Junkie. You are awesome. Thank you for the first time chat on that. Then, of course, to my sis right there, CT. And then we even got Bubbleless. What's up?
What?
You're awake? It's late in the evening, so she finally rolled out of bed. Oh, right. Yeah, so let's definitely get on into this, guys. Is the background music a little loud? I'm sorry, let me see. Or is it a little quiet? There we go. You know how Windows updates and everything changed. I had to do everything like 4 times to get everything up and streaming, and yeah, so it's a learning process. I have YouTube on one, I have Twitch on another, and I have Instagram working again finally. So wherever however you guys like to. I got TikTok to approve me. I just didn't have time to set up all the stuff for it. So, without further ado, Miss Lady Ray, let's start with your earliest paranormal experience.
Jeez. My earliest one that I can remember is probably going to be when I was about, 5, 6 years old. At this point, we lived in a very big city. We just moved in to our second house. The layout, I'm trying to like to have the layout in my head. So as soon as you walk in through the front door, to your left is the garage, and then you have like this narrow hallway, and as you keep walking is my bedroom. Off to your left would be like the kitchen and the living room area, and as you turn left there would be another little narrow hallway. My parents' bedroom would be to the right. I'm an only child, so I have no siblings. So there was only 3 of us. I remember my mom loved to read scary novels. I remember one of the books having a hand with an eye on it. Scared the living daylights out of me. I've never really been able to look at hands like the same. Fingernails just gross me out. I remember her telling me one time when she was reading her novels, her coming out of her bedroom to go grab the book. And I remember hearing her talking. I didn't know what she was saying. After the fact and hearing the story from her, I guess she saw this shadow man next to my door, and she told it not to go into my room. Apparently this entity, whatever it was, didn't listen, and it went into my room. I remember seeing this like shadow, because I remember waking up in just pure fear, and the shadow being on the wall. Of course, as a child, you don't know what to do.
Definitely not. So what time of season was this? Did you say that?
No, I did not. I want to say it was mid-fall-ish, because I know I was going to school, so I'm thinking it was mid-fall.
And, not I'm not trying to dox us or anything, but a lot of people already know where I am. So this was when you lived up in Denver?
Yes.
Okay. So, mid-fall, pretty cold around that time up there.
It was very cold.
So.
I'm thinking it was probably maybe midnight 1-ish. So it was fairly late, because my mom loved to stay up late.
And if you can recall, like after seeing this, other than obvious feelings of feeling afraid or panicked and stuff, can you kind of describe to me like the atmosphere, the smell, like was your hair standing, was there a static feeling, that kind of thing?
There was no smell that I can recall. I felt like, I don't want to say darkness, but it wasn't a friendly feeling. It wasn't friendly at all. It did feel as if it wanted to harm me. As I'm sure, as you know, I'm very much one of faith. The first thing that I did after seeing this and feeling all of that, I just pulled my covers over my head and just started praying immediately. I think I just kept praying until I fell asleep. I assume it disappeared, it left, but I don't know.
That is the best shield against any demon, is going underneath the blankets. They can't touch you.
No.
If you go underneath the blankets.
Can't be seen.
But you can't step out on put your foot next to the bed because then they can pull you in.
Yes. Or touch the wall.
Of course, here comes Chris. Welcome, my friend. Oh my goodness. So, did you tell your parents the next day, or?
After that, my mom was aware. She asked me, and of course, being a kid, I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because immediately I had forgotten what we were talking about, what was going on. I tend to do that quite often. It takes me days to recollect what I've experienced, gone through, and felt.
Oh man, everyone's going up.
Yeah, that's right.
I am so blind. I can't read the text on the screen. I have to get my big phone out with the giant text. So from there, where do we go?
Oh, there are so many tiny itty bitty ones, and I'm sure most people have experienced those voices of saying your name or hey or something. Those are throughout. But the next one I would say is when we probably moved back down. I was really close to my cousin Amanda. I periodically called her my sister, just for the pure fact of us being related on both sides of our parents. Her mother and my mom were sisters, and then my dad and her dad were actually cousins. So that ended up making her and I first and second cousins. So we just felt as if we were sisters because she didn't have a sister, I didn't have a sister, so that's where it came from. She was 2 years older than I was. So, of course, she always played the I'm older card. So I ended up doing a lot of ridiculous things. At this point, she was living across the street from our elementary school. So most mornings I would end up getting dropped off at her house so that I could just go to school.
Right.
Always ended up 15 minutes late. Never a dull moment with that girl. One morning, let's see, how old was I? I think I was in the...
Think about that. So just to tell you, like Amanda, again, first and foremost, God rest her soul. But she was a firecracker. Like, if you guys think, the typical crazy Latina girl, like, she would beat that girl up.
Yeah, she was quite crazy.
So trying to set the mood for her, she was completely out there. And of course, quick shout out to, of course, Mama, welcome in here. Sandman, welcome in. And did you remember the season?
This particular one was about mid-spring. We were just about out of school. So early spring, yeah, about early spring. It was just her and I in the house. She always had to do my hair. She never liked my hair. I've always been a pretty plain Jane, just up in a ponytail and let's go. She's always been the one who's, oh, we got to dress up, we got to put our hair up, we got to wear the nicest clothes. She was very flamboyant. She was very much with, I guess you would call her a fashionista. So she would fix my hair, she would do all of that, and in the midst of it, we would hear banging on the front door.
Like, where it shook the whole house? Or?
Yeah. And the way that house was set up was there's a front room, then you go into the kitchen, and then you would go into this like very, very small kind of like, you would see the doors. There'd be one bedroom and then there would be another bedroom, and the bathroom was in the master bedroom. So there was only one bathroom, so you would have to go through the master bedroom. And that's where we were. So it was like the furthest away from the door. So she and I ran to the door and we're like, well, who could it be? There was nobody there. We looked through the door. All of a sudden you'd hear banging on the back door, which the back door was next to the kitchen. So I was like, oh my goodness. She had 2 brothers. And we're like, they probably ditched school because they never went to school. They're probably messing with us. So she stayed at the front door. I went to the back door. Nothing.
And I apologize. What time of day was this again?
This was right before school, so it was
this is
early
in the
morning.
morning.
So this is about 7, maybe 6:30. So she's always like the bravest person. She's like, well, I'm gonna go outside. I'm like, well, I ain't going out there. You can do that by yourself. I've always been a chicken. So she went around the whole entire house, came inside, found me curled up on the couch, just scared. Nobody around us. She was like, it had to have been my brothers, but I'm almost positive it wasn't her brothers. Almost positive. Because we even asked them when they got home. Of course, they had a straight face, but you never knew with them.
Right.
They're
of course
jokers.
Not. They're a handful. Like, just, I absolutely love them, but man, they were an acquired taste.
Yeah, I was always called the goody two-shoes. I was always Rachel with the halo.
And I see the shout out to If I Was a Ghost. Thank you. So, and what comes out of that? Anything?
No. Actually, she decided that she had a best friend. And she wanted to go to her house and tell ghost stories. So we went to her best friend's house, probably that weekend or so. We're at the friend's house, and there's a whole bunch of them. And I'm extremely, extremely shy. Painfully shy.
By a whole bunch of them, a bunch of other kids, a bunch of other girls.
A bunch of other kids there, because my cousin did not hang out with just girls. It was very rare for her to be around girls.
So this is about 10 boys and girls plus.
This was about 11 or so. Yeah, 11, 12. Maybe, I think my sister, me, and her friend were the only girls. The rest of them were guys.
And what age was this again?
I was probably about 8, maybe. And so she was closer to 12.
Okay.
And we were telling ghost stories. And I remember we decided she wanted to stay the night. And I was like, okay, fine. We'll stay the night. I think it ended up being just 3 girls and maybe 2 guys that stayed. Yeah.
Shame.
I know. And I believe one of them was my cousin's boyfriend, my sister's boyfriend, and probably I think the other one's her best friend's boyfriend.
Okay.
I wasn't into boys at all at this point. I had no desire. I still thought they had cooties. So, of course, being kids that they were, they wanted to be together. They went to her basement, and she had a Ouija board.
Bum, bum, bum.
That thing has always scared the crap out of me.
Good reason.
Yeah. Grandmothers, my mom, my dad, everybody have always told me not to mess with that. So I wasn't about to even touch that. Like I said, I'm a wuss. 100% wuss. Didn't even want to be in the same room as it. I ended up going into her mom's room. And I think at that time, was, oh God, what the heck was that show called? It was a talent show where all of them would sing. Oh, I don't even remember what.
This was on TV?
Yeah, this was on TV. This was way back then.
This is way before America's Got Talent
Yeah.
and stuff. We're talking early 90s, so...
Yeah. I think it was like, oh, I don't even remember. Star Search. That's
Star
what it
Search.
was.
Oh my
That's
God,
what
I
it
forgot that was a thing.
I was like, Star something. Star Search, yes. Memories.
You got your shout out from Rachel and
Yeah.
Zozu enters the chat. No, get them out. Goblin, kick that guy out. No, I'm playing. About to DJ on the Ouija board.
So scared. So scared. They started playing with that thing.
Right.
And like I said, I went to the room. I don't know. My mom has always considered me and herself to be very sensitive to spirits.
Can concur.
So we can sense them quite easily. I believe our girls have this too, especially Bubbles. Bubbles is definitely very sensitive.
Yes, it was something. she got a little something from both of us there.
Yeah.
Something I need to do. Go ahead, continue.
So they started playing with this evil thing.
Of course.
And I can feel something coaxing me and wanting me to, and trying to drag me towards them. Of course, I resisted. There was no way I was going near that thing. With all of that, it was like almost like I could feel my energy being sucked out. I think because I was so young, I didn't know how to defend myself, like, other than praying. But at this point, I wasn't even thinking about that, and I just felt myself being sucked.
Like your essence
Yes.
being pulled.
Yeah, and
Context, don't you do it. You gotta be careful with wording with this chat.
I remember the next morning her mom telling me that she just remembers that I just like pretty much just fainted and I was just out of it. Next morning I remember telling them we need to get rid of this board. They concurred that they wanted to get rid of the board. So we got the board and we chucked it. We cut it up. They had fun, destroying it.
Right.
Few weeks later, again going back to her house to get ready for school, I see something under the couch. And I'm like, Amanda, what's under there? She's like, I don't know. So we pull it out. There's the board.
The Ouija board. The
Ouija
Ouija board
board.
you guys had fun destroying. And this is the spooky thing is shout out to Super Cringe Roleplay. We have a paranormal chat. We about once every other month we try to have a discussion with weird paranormal things. Because you told me this story, right? And
Parts
then
of it.
there is another person on that chat that told me a very, very similar story. Like they couldn't get rid of their Ouija board. It kept coming back. And I thought it was the most wild thing.
Yeah, we did that a couple of times, and we tried getting rid of that
Thanks,
thing.
Colin.
At a certain point, I ended up telling my grandma about this, which, again, I got beat up by my sister for telling grandma because she got in trouble for playing with it. But I was scared to death because this thing was following us around. I even found it at my house and almost got in trouble. Thank God I found it before my parents did. She ended up praying over us using holy water and some oils, And after that, I don't remember ever seeing that board again.
I'm trying to make the text bigger, but I can't.
After that,
I'm sorry, guys. I am super blind today. I don't know what's going on. Cool glasses are going to have to come off, and reading glasses are going to have to come on.
dang. Yeah, even with these, I can't see, guys. I'm pretty blind myself.
Oh, I don't know what is going on. I cannot see my regular glasses right now. So, okay. So, I mean, is that the outcome after the prayer? Did it finally go away?
Yeah, it finally went away. It finally went away.
So do you also end up, you burned it in the end, right?
We did. My grandma ended up doing so, and she was rebuking everything.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then at that point, I got to a point where I didn't really believe in ghosts or aliens or anything per se.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of my experiences ended up being mostly spiritual. So I ended up really believing that most activity definitely has to be a good spirit or a bad spirit.
Right.
I definitely have experienced a good handful of bad ones. I think I only have maybe one good one that I am positive that I interacted with. I know that I got several more, but one that I've actually interacted with. My sister, she was definitely chasing after these spirits constantly. She thought it was cute. And my grandma would tell us stories. And I remember one time she was telling us stories about our family's past.
Right.
And how they definitely played with a lot of demonic how do you say? They were definitely very much into witchcraft.
Right.
And
to give a little, try to help you out with context too, with your family and stuff. You have a lot of native heritage, who a lot of them try to dabble in quote unquote the dark arts.
yes, very much so. This is definitely many generations back.
Right.
But of course, my grandma wanted us to be aware that this was part of our history.
Mm-hmm.
And even to the point of some of her aunts that were still living at the time were still dabbling with this, which for me scared me. I was like, nope, I ain't dealing with that. And my sister, she thought it was so funny, so she'd sit there and she'd be all like, come, evil spirits, come, show yourselves. And of course, me, I'm over there crying, what are you doing? My grandma lived on a street where there were no houses across the street. It was just a plain big field. So you could see everything. And then she lived next to an alleyway. There was an alleyway on two sides, on the side of the house and then behind the house.
When she says alleyway, it's not even an alleyway. They live
It's
next
dirt.
to a open field. So it's like they started to develop houses and then they just stopped developing houses. So it was just dirt that turned into a dirt road on the end.
We started hearing howling and footsteps outside. And we looked out there and you couldn't see anything on the street. And you could hear like there was something, and it wasn't in a distance. It wasn't like a far distance. It felt like it was right there in front of the house. Howling and growling and just like, again, I would start feeling this really dark, evil feeling towards me. It was very scary, and I remember telling my grandma what was going on, and she didn't feel it, and I think it was definitely meant just for my sister and I. She thought it was cute, and so at this point, my mom and my grandma went to the bedroom. She has this bookcase and this plate that's kind of sitting there. It doesn't have one of those little things that you have holding it. It's just kind of sitting there. And I remember my sister telling them, if you're real, make that plate move. And I was like, you're not doing that. She's like, if you're real, make it move. So all of a sudden, this plate starts spinning. And it's spinning violently right on the bookcase. Of course, I run towards my mom and my grandma. And I don't tell them anything at this point because I don't want to get a beating from my sister again. So I don't say crap. I'm just like, I just want to come and pray with you guys. So they just start praying as my sister sits in the other room playing with these demons. Scared me.
So Chris asks, and I have a hard time saying Spanish words because I am the whitest brown kid you'll ever meet, but it means witches, brujas. See, I can't roll my tongue. We actually had this conversation today.
Yes, we did.
And all through our break, I was trying to roll. I can't roll my tongue. Crap. But Chris, you probably know more Spanish than I do. But you kind of already were saying that you don't per se have witches in your family, but definitely.
I do believe that there were a few of them, I was told that there were quite a few possessions that took place, like demons would possess them, and that they've had to get a few priests to try and do exorcisms.
Right. I remember you telling me that. Any recorded that you know of? Like, even if it was just on paper?
I think it was way too far back to where when they didn't really document too much. It was more of word of mouth at that point.
Was it done through the Catholic Church? Do you know, or
because I don't think it was.
No,
I don't think it was.
The nice thing about Catholic churches, or being raised Catholic and stuff, they keep record of all exorcisms. They don't just hand it out to anybody, but if you have like a family history of exorcisms, they keep that stuff down, which is awesome because it also helped out with like mental illnesses and stuff. With like it's what helped figure out like bipolarism and schizophrenia and stuff. It was because of they thought people were being possessed, but it was just their brains breaking. But I mean, what triggers that kind of thing too. So sorry, going on a tangent. I love looking at the science of everything, to give reason to things. But no, I would say at least all the family members I've talked to on your side, no. I can't even do it. My brujas. My mouth is completely dry. I should have got.
Other than them just being brats.
Right. By brats, she means they'll come at you, bro. Yeah, especially your sister. She.
They're fighting kind.
Yeah. But, so where do we go from there?
So with all of that, I think has led up to this point in my life where my grandma Lily, that's with this happened in summertime. Mm-hmm. It was probably early afternoon, so I'm thinking probably about 11 o'clock, maybe noon. And it's very peaceful. I'm by myself. There's no other cousins. My grandma's house is usually really peaceful. She never liked to have a TV in her house. She was very much a reader, so I didn't have access to TV when I would go to grandma's. So I would just sit there and really be in my own imagination. But this particular day, I decided to just kind of look out the window. She has this big, huge window, the picture window, huge window. And I remember just looking out the window. It was a very calm, peaceful day. And I remember seeing this man. And he is walking in front of the house, and I can see him go off to the back. And then a couple of moments later, I would see him come back around, and he would keep walking.
So he's just
walking around the house, because I even...
So was he walking through the alleyway, or was he going all the way to the other end of the street and walking
He was going all the way to the alleyway, cutting across the property line, and going around.
So he was just literally circling
literally
the house.
just circling the house alone. He wasn't going around the block. He was circling the house. And from what I can remember, he almost like glowed. He like had this glow to him.
An aura.
Yeah, something. And I remember going to my grandma and going, "Grandma, have you ever seen this guy walking around your house?" And she's like, "Yes, my dear, that's my angel. He walks around my house quite often. He's always around the house, and he's always protecting."
Not terrifying. That is a blessing.
Yeah, she's like she because after my sister and her over there calling these these demons, here comes my grandma summoning her angels to circle the house.
Right. And see, that's a big thing, like, you don't hear too many, like, but for a lot of people, they don't realize this either. So, in the past, in the last couple of interviews, we talk about a lot of ghosts and people looking at ghosts or seeing ghosts but not realizing that they are ghosts, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the ones that freak me out the most, because like with my uncle's friend who thought he saw a little boy, he's like, no, it was a little boy. They peeked their head out the window and they waved at me and went back in. And that wasn't a see-through thing or anything like that. That was, a full body apparition. And if you guys, the way I feel, if you believe in ghosts, you have to believe in demons, and then with the other side of the coin to that is you have to believe in angels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can choose not to, which is totally your choice, but it is hard to say that you believe in one but not the other, because there's just so many clear evidence of this. You see this person walking around you, but you feel
peace.
Yeah,
there was nothing but peace,
calmness out of it.
Yeah, it was definitely a different feeling than what I had felt previously. I didn't feel like there was any harm coming towards me or that they wanted to hurt me. It was just a calm. It was a nice feeling, just peaceful, very peaceful. I only saw him once, but I never ever told any of my other cousins about it. I only brought it up to my grandma, finding out that they also saw this man walking around periodically when they would be staying at grandma's house.
Did you describe what he looked like a little, if you can?
He was blonde. His hair was fairly long. It was about mid-length, probably as long as mine. Just wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and he had his hands in his pockets, and he was just walking around, just walking around. I remember one time he just even turned and looked at me and just smiled, and then just kept walking. Just gave me this genuine smile and just kept walking.
That is crazy.
Like I didn't fear him at all. There was no fear.
And then Ring cameras didn't exist back then, so not that I would pick it up, and not like Ring cameras are really reliable, because a lot of people, if you know this or not, they're showing there's only showing half a person, but it's just the way the infrared light only picks up so much, so it only shows half their body. It's stupid. I think we were talking about it the other night on the Discord. But like, I love hearing this. Gamers for God, my brother Mike, he was actually, again, he's never had a good ghost story, just these moments of, of being in presence of something, and
Right.
a lot of people, I want to say people talk about that even less than ghost stories. I guess because ghost stories are fun, spooky, and when you get this, we're just calling, with what it is a presence of a possible angel. Like, you don't really feel the need to tell everybody because you almost feel a calmingness out of it, and you're just being protected. Which I would love to hear more stories because I know there's more out there.
Right.
Chris asks, could others see him, or is it just the family?
I don't know if anybody else saw him. Unfortunately, most people that went and visited my grandma are now gone. So there's no way for me to ask them at this point.
A lot of older people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I guess we can ask something that we'll have to do next time we see them is ask your cousins and stuff, because they had a lot of friends over.
They did,
So-
and they're ones who stay in touch with friends.
Right,
I
right.
don't talk to very many people.
So we'll have to do some more research on that one.
And we do have a graduation party coming up,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
guess I'll have to go ask them.
I'll take my phone camera and I'll just start interrogating them. What do you remember from this day?
Right? Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I know where this leads into the next part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where it got a little rough for you.
It got pretty dark, and I've thought about this, and I don't know if the outcome was part of this, but it's up for debate. So my other grandma, Benny, we're gonna call her because that's her name.
Benita.
Benita. How do I go with this? I didn't have a really good relationship with my grandma, Benny, or even those cousins. My cousin Amanda and my cousin Crystal were about the same age, different sides, but they know each other. They knew each other, and again, they were related too, but they didn't like each other at all. They always butt heads. And I think it was mainly because my cousin Crystal, she did not like me. And my sister, she just adored me and loved me, and she always wanted to protect me from everybody.
Everything.
And so she would, like Matt said, she was ready to fight whoever she needed to fight. So she didn't like me too much. But there was one incident that I believe it was summertime, and it was my cousin Crystal, her little sister Jessica, and myself who ended up sleeping over Grandma's house. My grandma didn't believe in having extra beds or whatnot. She made us sleep on the floor, so we would have to get, blankets and lay them down and just sleep at the foot of her bed. So we got it all ready, and we're getting ready for bed. And I happened to be the closest to the light switch. So I was told to get up and turn the light off. So I turned the light off, and we went to sleep. Of course, as a kid, my mind was always going, and I don't think that I fell asleep. And I could hear, because all of my family, they're horrible snorers. So I can hear my grandma snoring, I can hear my two cousins snoring, I can even hear my grandpa in the other room snoring, and I'm just sitting there, just trying to figure out what to do. Like I said, I've always been in my own mind. I'm always very much imagining things. All of a sudden, I hear a and I'm like, what was that? And I thought it was the dog. So I leaned over to touch to see if the dog was right there. And all of a sudden I feel like something right next to me. And I'm like, what is this? And it's like two, I don't know what it was, two separate things. And I'm like touching and I'm like, what is this? So I start touching and I'm all intrigued. Keep touching, going, what is this? And I'm like, it's pretty solid because I'm trying to push and it's not budging. Before I even realize it, I'm already standing up. So I'm what, at this point, 4 foot? Because I'm like, again, 8, 9 years old. Can't, as far as I can reach, and I can hear, and all of a sudden I feel like this hot air just blowing on me. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So I go back down and I touch what I believe to be hooves. And I'm like, no, this can't be what I think it is. And again, I fall straight to the ground, roll over, grab the blankets, put them over my heads, and I just start praying. And I start praying out loud at this point because I'm scared to death. And then I reach over, because I didn't fall asleep this time. I reached over, and there was nothing there. And this part I didn't tell you about.
I'm ready.
All of a sudden, I can hear something calling me, Rachel. And it's in the kitchen. So I kind of peek my head. Rachel! Freaked me out. And I'm like,
Goosebumps.
I'm like, do I go or do I stay? What do I do? I got brave. And I start walking. And I stop at my grandpa's bedroom door. So that's about maybe 4 or 5 feet from grandma's.
Right.
And I can hear the and all of a sudden at this point I see red eyes. I went back, I lay down, I prayed some more, and I fell asleep. I was like, no, I'm not going to. And at that point in my life, that's where things really changed for me. I've never been embarrassed to tell these stories. I've never hid any of this. But I was molested as a child by my grandfather. And this is the grandfather that I was molested by. I believe that was the devil trying to tell me that he has me, that I'm his at this point. Because after all of that happened, as a child, and I became a teenager, I did get raped because my mom was helping at that point teenage moms, and she would take me along with her to see these teenage moms. And of course these moms had little brothers, and one of the brothers raped me. I never told anybody. I didn't say nothing to nobody. Nobody knew about this until after I married you. I finally came out and I admitted to that part. I definitely was sexually assaulted quite a bit after that too.
Not by me.
No, he was one of the gentlemen. But I felt that was the devil telling me that he had me, that I was in his grasp, that he wasn't going to let go of me, and that I was under his thumb. Little did he know that Matt was about to enter my life and change everything for me. But yeah, I really haven't experienced too much of that type of spiritual until we moved into this house.
Until we moved into this house.
Until we moved here.
So.
Oh no, it was the apartment that we lived in.
Oh wait, are you talking about the empty apartment above us that we kept hearing?
The empty apartment.
I forgot about that.
Above us.
I'm pretty sure it was just homeless people though.
I felt this doom, and our girls, they had bunk beds.
Right.
And I remember going on the top bunk bed, and you could really feel like they were like trying, and you can tell that there was a barrier there, that they could not go.
I would agree. Okay, so pause real quick. So we lived. I totally forgot about this.
Yeah.
So we just moved from a duplex. We had to move into an apartment for a little while because the house we were going to be going in was still getting ready. So we just had our first 2 kids. You got pregnant with our third, our Lou, and then my little sister, who also got pregnant at the same time, needed a place to stay, so we let her stay with us. And yeah, so we had these, these, I don't want to call them druggies, but they were clearly wannabe gang members who lived above us. They were so annoying because they were so loud,
so very loud.
And
I swear they're big people.
And then not much longer, as you know, they more likely couldn't afford the rent there. They got evicted, so the apartment went empty. And this is for, they got evicted for probably about a week before we started hearing things.
Well, I didn't even realize that. Well, I knew somebody had gotten evicted, but it felt like someone had immediately moved in after.
Right, which we thought somebody moved in immediately after. That's what it was, because then we found out a week or 2 after.
Well, this was like just about the time that we were getting ready to leave. Mm-hmm. So we had already been there for maybe 6 months or so.
Yeah, I don't even think it was that long. I think we were only there for about 4 months. But still, we kept getting, we were complaining about noises. Our neighbor was complaining about noises. And then the upstairs neighbor, who was side by side with them, they were complaining. We all thought it was each other. And because I remember I got a phone call saying, hey, we're getting noise complaints. And I'm like, no, I'm complaining about noises. And they're like, we're trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's above me. And then that's when there's like, it can't be above you because there's nobody in that apartment. And I was like, it has to be above us, because as I'm talking to them, I'm hearing like an argument and like rustling around upstairs. And they're like, no, there's nobody that should be in there. And within like the hour, they sent the maintenance dude or the super or whoever to that. And, they came and knocked on my door, and they came in, and even with the super there, he can hear the people above us. That's what we thought. We thought it was squatters. Yeah, exactly. But then we went upstairs, and I went with him, and it is completely empty. Like we were just down there. And we're talking to him, and he even, before I said anything, he's like, oh, okay. Well, and that's what he thought too. Yeah, So we went up there, and I was like, oh, I grabbed my baseball bat, like, let's go kick some butt, waking my kids up at like 3 a.m. in the morning and stuff. It was pissing me off. Like, I'll go help intimidate him. And he opens up the door, we walk in, and the whole apartment is just completely bare. Like it you can tell that it hasn't been touched. Again, this was empty for almost a month, and you can see the dust. They had to have left their energy, right there. Like seriously,
negative energy.
So
for sure.
The apartment complex too, like you couldn't just walk in to it. The front doors are always locked.
Yeah, they were locked. You had to have
the key to get into the apartment,
and then to get into the house. Of
course, and then you need your key to your apartment. So, and all of us in our little wing, we always made sure that door closed behind us. Those crackheads, they always got mad at us because they, I don't know, somehow always lost their key. And I'm like, dude, that's not my problem. Like,
I refuse to let people in.
Yeah, and so it was the weirdest thing. I totally freaking forgot about that. You're absolutely right. Yeah. But when they would make noise, it felt off.
It did, and especially getting close to the ceiling, you could feel something right there.
Yeah.
You could feel that something, and like I was like, and I've been having my kid like sleep this close to this.
Right.
At that point, I was like, okay, we need to get out of here,
Right,
like
right.
now.
And then that's when we moved, not to this place, but one place before this. But now, fast forwarding, coming to our current house, which we have been here for 10 plus years. I think we're at 12.
It's 10 years. It was 10 years here in February.
Oh, 10 years in February.
Yeah.
Possibly negative energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of said my side of things. I was chillaxing in my chair. My mom and dad were over. I want to say we were watching WrestleMania. My daughters were downstairs playing because their room was actually this room right here. And when I was leaning back and I looked up the stairs, I saw on the doorway just a little head peeking through. And this is the first year, like, this is like, I don't even think we were here a year yet.
No, yeah, and the girls were immediately had seen this.
Yeah,
and
they were telling us they kept seeing a little boy. And, like, we shoved them off. They're like, guys, you always see something, you know?
Well, yeah, and this was around the time that we were really watching Ghost Adventures.
Oh, yeah,
and all of those.
Yeah,
and so they were very aware, and
Right.
they enjoyed them too.
Right. It was in their head. It was
So
their
we were just
imagination.
thinking, oh, they so desperately want this experience that they're starting to create one of their own.
Right. So then I saw something, you know, again, peering through their head. I saw it, and it looked like a person, and right away I thought it was one of my daughters, and then I went back to talking to my parents, and you know, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a minute. We're all down here, and then I looked back up, and before I even said anything, I was already running upstairs because I was thinking, I didn't close the front door all the way. Our block has a bunch of kids on it. Or had. They all grown up now.
They're all big.
But at the time when we first moved in, you know, there was a bunch of kids. One must have walked in, you know, and when I ran upstairs, front door was locked. I checked every room, never saw it. Myself, I haven't seen it again, but there's other little tidbits. And then you have been having your own thing.
As of late, I have. But back then, I was seeing things too, and I did see the little boy. I really noticed because we had that mirror upstairs in the hallway.
Oh, this one right here.
Mm-hmm, that I moved over.
So we have a full body mirror that was left at the house.
Yeah. I remember moving it and putting it down here. And I remember after I had moved that, I started seeing things, and I would see like this little boy, and he would just be standing, and it wouldn't even be like you could see like details. It was just like a silhouette. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you would like get a glimpse of it, it would run away, and like before you could actually understand what you're looking at, it was already gone.
Real quick, I want the way you said that, and I'm giving myself goosebumps, and I'm freaking myself out. And if you guys seen the new the Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, we give spoilers. So the main bad guy, or not kind of bad guy, but the Void, or the Sentry, he turns into the Void. Mm-hmm. When he's all completely shadowed out. Mm-hmm. That's what it looked like to me. Like it looked like it had depth. It looked like it had mass.
There were
but
details
it was
there,
like
but you really couldn't
but
see
it,
it.
everything was like zapped out of it at the same sense. Sorry, if
Yes.
you guys haven't seen the Thunderbolts, go watch that. It's a great movie. It's like one of the best Marvel movies to come out in a long
That's
time.
exactly what I thought, Chris. We thought it was
I
not so much of a demon portal, but I was thinking it had to have been something, because Matt's always had a thing about mirrors, and especially that mirror, and that was why I moved that mirror, because he kept complaining about that damn mirror, because every time he would walk
mirrors.
by it
I'd scare
in
myself.
the middle of the night, and he would see himself walking towards, he would scare himself. So I was like, I'm gonna take this mirror out. And as soon as I moved that mirror, all of a
threw
sudden,
it down here next to me, so now every time I leave the room, I see it.
still-
And I know it's there, and I'm not even lying. Every time I walk out, I'm just like, don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look at it. And I just, I know I'm not going to see anything, but if you were to see something, it's going to be in the reflection of a mirror.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything in a mirror. And I'm sure movies and stuff have shown it and whatnot. That doesn't bother me. I don't know what it is about mirrors, but if I know if it's ever going to truly happen to me, it's going to be through a reflection. And again, no, let's not. I mean, it'll be real easy to. Oh yeah, no. See, look, even my mom is the same way. Before I enter a bathroom at night, I don't care if I'm dead asleep. I flick on that light, and I still won't look into the mirror, before I go in there. But yeah, that's just me being a sissy. I hate it. It's one of my horrible quirks about me. Yeah. So there's more.
There's more. Those are just what had happened in the first few years of living here. I had stopped seeing anything, especially after our oldest moved out. I hadn't seen anything, and then you started telling me that you kind of felt.
Oh, okay, yeah. So when she moved out, I want to go back into this, but I don't want to go into it right now. I kept seeing something like run off in the distance. Again, it felt like a child, and it was one of those things that you never quite see it. It always happens
at the corner of your eye,
the very, very corner of your peripheral vision, and then you look, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like the whole, leaning behind something. But it wasn't leaning behind anything. It was like leaning behind my vision, and it was just like constantly, appearing, and it was going on for a little while, and it didn't matter what room I was in. I can be downstairs when I was playing a video game, I'd be upstairs. But it felt like it kept fucking with me. Sorry for cussing, but I was getting angry with it because it was like, I'm like, dude, get out of my house, go, and that's how I felt. But then we were setting up a movie night, and on the Discord, you open up a Discord chat. And then anybody can jump into it. When you talk on the Discord, a little light indicator pops up, to let everybody know you're the one talking, a little green circle. And as I'm getting things ready, I hear a tapping. And I thought it was one of my kids. And I'm like, hey, go ahead and come in. I'm not doing nothing yet. Then again, I hear. And I'm like, oh, they must not want to come in because they don't want to disturb Dad, So I get up, I open the door, there's nobody there. And I'm like, and in that moment when I'm looking and I'm realizing there's nobody there, I hear the again, and I'm like, is that coming from the window? And I have a little window that's back here. And I go up to the window, and it's dark outside, and I put my phone light to it. But the window is too dirty from splashes of rain and stuff and mud that stuck to it. And I'm like, either my kid's really putting her full effort to mess with me, which I wouldn't doubt that was a thing that they would do to me, or a lizard or a bird got stuck in there, which has happened. Quite a few times. Especially salamanders. We get a lot of salamanders here, which is really weird. Yeah,
they were big, huge.
Yellow, black spot salamanders. So I go outside to go, clean it out and stuff. And as I'm looking through window, and then a guy, Proto, he's already in chat. He's in chat by himself. I put my headset back on. I get my mic adjusted, and I'm like, "Hey, Proto, what's up?" And he goes, "Okay, hey, that fixed it." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Whatever you did to your mic, I can hear you better now." I'm like, "Okay, start from the beginning. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Whatever you're doing, it was sounding like you're really muffled and far away. All I can hear is..." I'm like, "What?" I like, are you sure it was me? He goes, yeah, your green indicator light would turn on every time I asked a question. And so clearly you can hear me, but I couldn't understand you. So that's why I'm saying, whatever you did to your mic, it fixed it. And I'm like, Proto, I was outside, like outside of my house. There ain't nobody in this room. There ain't nobody downstairs. He goes, well, that can't be because you're like, clearly you were responding to whatever I was saying because you'd only talk when I asked a question. And I was like, then I told them what I was doing and the reason why I heard everything. And yeah, I try not to freak myself out even now being in this room and whatnot, because my oldest was telling me that randomly throughout the night she would hear tapping. And so she heard me tell the story, and then she's like staring at me. She's like, I told you I heard tapping. And I know, it was the salamander, right? Those slow-ass little salamanders that can barely move, and I don't know how they live. And, but, like, so, you know, I tell Rachel about what just happened, and, like, the only thing, I'm trying to put logic to it, right? Either somehow, some way, they can hear her, or because she's above me in the bedroom, and, like, she was talking to her mom or something, you know, being loud, but then again, that's a lot, you know, to travel through, or I don't have it on right now, but this is the headset that I was using, and I usually do this to it, and I put it on there, so maybe he was hearing the reverberation of when he was talking, and it was somehow echoing through the headset and the mic. That is going to be my best logic to it, is that somehow he heard himself, like, you know, echo, but I don't know. And then that's when you started getting.
Then I started, and it was
up.
It first started, of course, with water. I just got out of the shower, and I'm drying my hair, so I have my head in the towel.
I don't know. Oh, wait, are you talking about the guy online? Did he see? My camera was off at the time. If that's what you're wondering, we were just doing voice chat. Sorry.
I'm drying my hair with the towel, and so loudly in my ear, I heard, "Hey!" But it was like the whisper, but "Hey!" And it sounded like Matt. So I got mad because he has a tendency of trying to scare me, especially in the bathroom.
No, that's a lie.
And I pull it off, and nobody's in there. Plus, he really couldn't have gotten in there because I'm pretty close to the door anyways. He would have hit me before he could even have done that. So I yell at him immediately when it happened, and I told him. I heard a voice. And I want to say it was like 2-3 days after that. In our bedroom, you walk through the door, and there's our bed.
That's usually how rooms work.
Well, it's usually it's like right there next to the door. And you have to go around it to get to my side of the bed. And I'm at my vanity, and I'm putting my shoes on. And our dogs tend to like to come in, and they always kind of peek their head around the corner, trying to get approval to come, you know, say hi to me. Usually I always tell them to get out of my room.
We have two really big dogs. Yeah. We have a German Husky, German Shepherd half Husky, and then my dog is a German short-haired pointer mixed with Great Parisies. So he's a big boy.
Yeah, they're big dogs. And like Matt said, you always see this like shadow on the corner of your eye. Well, I see something which looked like a little kid's head, and I don't know why I go to a little boy. And maybe it's just because of the fact of that's what we've kind of got in our heads at this point, is that it's a little boy. I just see this little head just kind of peek around the bed, thinking it's my dog looking, and before I could even say anything, it's gone. And I was like, I didn't want to sound crazy, so I don't say anything because I don't want to be I don't look crazy.
Yeah. Don't want to be crazy, dang it.
Damn it, I'm not insane. But like that's what I've been seeing, and I've been seeing it a lot lately. Like just right there in the corner of the bed, and I have to keep telling myself there's nothing there. There's nothing there, and it's always the corner of the bed just kind of pokes its head over and then disappears. And it's like this kid wants to play hide and seek constantly. Constantly. But at this point, those are the only ones that I've had.
So, for anything. Because, again, I don't like talking about it too much because words tend to have power for me. And, if you talk about it, you're inviting stuff. And I'm not inviting nothing into my house. But, these are personal stories that, I wanted to bring Ray on today to kind of give you guys a little history about us, about going through everything. And I really, really want, to be an open book about everything. So if you guys ever want to be on here and, tell us your personal stories, like this is another opening up. Like I'm trying to roll out the red carpet for everybody. Goblin, he had an amazing stories the last week with his investigations. My mama was on beforehand. That's, you kind of see the whole history of her stories and how they easily blended right into mine. And then Hawk, I always hope to have him back on because he has a couple more stories to share on there. But if you guys are feeling brave enough to put that out there, we're not looking for evidence. We're not looking for concrete stuff. That's not what this whole talk show is about. This is just about opening up and telling your side of the story and hopefully having I hope I'm not echoing. That'll be fun to go find out that we went through the whole episode echoing. But yeah, my main goal here is just to this is our campfire that we're telling ghost stories and our experience with of sharing with everybody. And I absolutely love listening to people and asking those little questions and trying to find out what is I don't know, like I'm not trying to find truth, but I'm just trying to find the person behind it. Like, does that make sense? I don't know where I'm going with this. So questions. Floor is now you guys, all on chat. I'm ready to, again, just be open. Let's maybe you guys can bring some light to it, which that's what I definitely like. Chris, you always bring that like psychology part of thinking. Other
than noticing that I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Let's just keep that. Shh.
No, you can totally say that. Sounds creepy on your end. Have you tried? I think Twitch is not the best at video quality. So, or it could just be your creepy house.
Oh yeah, we were hearing things there.
Yeah, Julian and mostly Mills were telling us about the weirdness. My sister just moved into a new house, and there's always that new feeling, which
getting familiar with your house.
You need me to go over and start saging it. You gotta push out all those bad spirits. But yeah, no, if this right now, we will definitely take the time. If anybody has any more questions, I know I was trying to ask a lot of them throughout the interview, but this is the great time. So to open up, to start off the questions and stuff, I want to be the first to ask. So you've told me these stories probably since we first met.
Yeah.
Me and you definitely have fallen into this side of things. We've went on ghost hunts together. We have, and nothing serious, nothing to be like equipment really didn't exist back then. More like checking places out, sitting down, and just feeling the vibe of places and whatnot.
Trying to figure out what is this, because it's not what you think it is.
And it feels like it never is. Okay, thank you for sending me that. And we've been extremely. This is before we even started going out. We were very open with each other on experiences and feelings and stuff like that. So my first big question is, how different does these stories feel from back then when we first started and meeting each other and to today?
They feel like a whole nother life now. I guess I can say that I'm not as afraid as I once was, and I guess looking in hindsight, you can tell. I feel that it was more, like I said, it's more of the devil always trying to tell me that he was always going to get me. Like I was saying, there ended up being a point where I did want to commit suicide. I did want to end it in town. Well, yeah, you won. Thank God I never got to that point.
Man, you had a dark past.
I did, and then I met you, and then I was like, you know what? Life is worth living. Having that person to remind you of who you really are, and not having these negative spirits and people, one and the same, if you ask me. It was a life changer. So
do you feel like you have grown?
I think that I feel that I have. I feel that I'm able to debunk, like you said,
Oh, there's an ad break in progress. Let's give it a second. Give us a quick minute if you're still here, if you guys can see us and whatnot. But I do like it when this actually works. Welcome back from commercial break. So, Goblin, have we saged our place? So, when we first moved in, we did. I went through every room, and saying that again, I think it's time to sage this again. It has been a while, but I definitely want to. Ray, do you think your dramatic past could explain your encounters? Do you think you were targeted?
I do. And on both, I very much would agree that my traumatic past, that it would explain it. I really feel that that's where it's headed. Like, you think about all of that, and sometimes that's what it ends up being. It's not even a past life or person that is haunting you. Sometimes it ends up being your own self. It ends up being you who ends up being the one that's haunting you. At some point you kind of have to let bygones be bygones, and exactly that, leave the past back there.
Right. Then Chris says trauma opens doors, so to speak. I agree with that. Yeah. And there's different, obviously her trauma is going to be probably the most amount. And for me, my trauma is I've almost died way more times than you should have from drowning and falling and motorcycle accident and things that I don't remember. But it is all something. Deadeye Junkie, do you feel that your experiences have strengthened your faith or weakened it? If you believe, which
I am very much a believer, and yes, I do. Like I said, my grandma Lily was a very well. Both of my grandmothers. Let me back up there. Both of my grandmas were very strong in their faith, and they were very much prayer warriors. They definitely played a very strong role in my upbringing and my faith. But my grandma Lily, she was the one who I feel really helped me make it stronger and to look at what I've dealt with and what had happened to me, and to remember to be strong, because I very much was a pushover, and through each experience I have definitely felt myself getting stronger and wiser.
I want to say real quick, when we first started going out and dating and got married, she was so shy that I would have to order, like if we went to a restaurant and stuff, I would have to order her food for her. I would have to, do everything because she wouldn't speak to anybody. Like, she was so shelled in. And the moment we know that she broke and she started opening up, we were going to a zoo, and we were looking. It was busy as heck. We're looking for a parking spot. We have our daughter's in the back, and I see some people, and I roll down her window, and I'm like, "Can you ask those people if they're leaving, or did they just get here? If they're leaving, can we take their spot?" And you just broke down crying.
I just cried so bad with the idea of having to talk to people I don't know. It created such a crazy anxiety that I've never experienced.
Like, it was a full-on panic attack, which, she's had moments, but this was like a full one. And I'm sorry, and I take it blame for it, but like, I was getting so tired of, the constant, the closedness that you had. I was like, Rachel, all I'm asking you to do is just ask them if they're leaving. That's it. You can do this. And I'm like trying to cheer her on, but I'm also like, come on, babe, you can do it. I'm being a lot more aggressive than I'm saying. I'm like, you can't hold back forever. If something happens to me, you got to take care of yourself, And she finally did it. And those people probably thought I was abusing her. Like, it was two ladies and their kids, and she's like sobbing, and I'm trying not to laugh because I think it's funny because I'm thinking about it at the same time. I'm like, they totally think I'm an abusive husband, and she asks, and she did it. And then she cries for a little while. We take their parking spot. We sit there for like 10 minutes to find your composure.
Finally, yeah.
And now I can't get her to shut up.
It's true.
We work together, and she is the mama of her area. Like, everybody goes up to her, and they call you, is it Mama Ray?
They call me Miss Rachel.
Oh, Miss Rachel. I'm sorry, Miss Rachel. This is before we knew that there was a Miss Rachel programming too. So she was Miss Rachel before Miss Rachel. And then that's actually why they started calling you that, right?
As far as my understanding.
Right. So we didn't even know who that was, and they had to explain that to us. That this YouTuber was doing that thing, and we finally sat down and watched it with our niece's baby, and it's a pretty good show. So shout out to Miss Rachel and her programming. It's like old school Sesame Street stuff.
And I think she's the new Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers, right. Which dude, I could sit down and watch Mr. Rogers right now. Like that was my jam, but yeah, cool. Any more questions out there? Anything anybody can think of right now is your time to ask away. I'm loving all the good questions out of there. Again, we are literally just rolling out, our heart for everybody on here. We've grown up so much. We're not ashamed of our past. We've learned a lot. Like, we are in our 40s now. Like, that's something to say. Like, the whole part of shame and everything is just that we've learned to grow past it, and we're learning every day. That's the biggest thing we also have learned is, like, we don't know, but we know how to try.
Yeah,
And
staying humble.
we try to stay as humble as we can. We try to stay as positive as we can. But yeah, and you gotta explore for a while. With getting older and having kids, it has been so hard. And our town is so itty bitty that maybe we should probably try. No, a lot of the places have been torn down.
Yes.
So there's very little places we can even go here anymore.
It's starting to grow. There's more people coming in, and a lot of development is being
all
done.
the good hiding spots that we had here are all torn down. So the most recent experience is probably with you in the shower with them whispering, and that was over a month ago.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been anything as of late. We'll keep you up to date on that. All I heard is, you can win, you feel great. You can't do this! That was a Dragon Ball abridged reference. Good old Nail, right? That was Nail and Piccolo when he absorbs Nail for the first time. I watched that show way too much. But yeah, like right now, we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. We go to work. We get home around 3, just after 3 p.m. I usually go to the gym for 2 hours. So I'm usually back here by 5:30, 6.
Have dinner.
We eat dinner.
And then I'm passed out by 6.
Then she's passed out. And then I try to stream for 2 hours, Monday through Friday. And yeah, it's just really hard to find time. My days off, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday, I love, donating my time to the Super Cringe guys and helping them out with whatever way I can there. Thursdays is usually my one day. I got to try to edit and make shorts to promote this right here. I love promoting this. But so the last, if you guys seen it with my mom, short I did, as of right now, on YouTube, it is my most popular one, which is awesome because it's a good story, and I'm going to break it down some more. It is up to 716 views, which just blows my mind. But then my most popular one I ever did is when I was playing Resident Evil 2 and a mop scared me, and I started shooting at the mop. And if you haven't seen that, that's on my shorts there. Do you feel energy just traveling every day or only in instances?
It's an everyday thing. There is one particular person that I work with that I am constantly, and I think it's mostly the energy that I deal with on a daily. I tell Matt all the time, I feel tormented quite often, but I've learned how to deal with it and to move past it, and I feel it all the time. It's just, I know when it's urgent or when it's just, it's just passing by.
Right. And throughout life too, like she, ever since I met her, there's been moments where she's like, I have a bad feeling. And I've always been one to try to go off of it. Either we'll still go through it, but we'll stay on high alert, or we'll just be like, no, there's clearly something up with it, and I just go off of her instinct and be like, all right, let's go. Let's not even take the chance. But yeah, no, she's definitely something. Like she not like, I'm really good at reading the room, and I'm a really good people person. Like I can usually tell if someone's bullshitting or if there's malintent or whatnot with the vast majority of people I meet. And like there's a few people that were being nice to you, and I start talking to them, and then we left away. It's like, that guy's full of bullshit. Watch out for him. And this is before we started going out. And then later on, you'd find out, it's like, that dude was full of bullshit.
Yeah,
like, thank you for telling me to watch out for him.
Yeah, that's something that I'm very, that I can't do. I can't read a room for the life of me. And I think that's where our strengths and weaknesses come into play.
Right.
And why we work so good together. Because
So Carissa, you say, have you ever seen a ghost on the boulevard by your house? Do you mean like out on the street? If that's what you mean, we see a lot of deer. I've never actually. There's a lot of death that happens on that street too, especially when we used to have a lot of people who ride motorcycles. It's not nearly as bad as it was, but there's been, and I know a few guys, and I think I was telling Chris this last night. He wrecked so bad that every limb got blown off but his leg, right? His like left leg.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But I've never seen anything. Every instance that I've ever seen anything that I know is just the ones that, we explained. Chris, that's for you, Ray. Can you sense intentions from spirits?
I mean, I have in the past. The one that is living or shows up every once in a while here, I don't sense anything from it. It's like you said, it's very much of a kind of like a void. There is no intent. It just kind of like just pops in and pops out.
And then from Goblin, adding to the sage question, is it okay with you all if I send you a method? Oh yeah, no, yes. I would greatly appreciate that. I typically just read from a passage from my Bible as I'm burning it, but I'm always up for new stuff. So definitely send me what you got. Have you ever looked into being sensitive? What do you mean by that? Like, is that like a test or something? For that question came from Deadeye Junkie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about this. I mean, I've heard my mom say that before, being sensitive.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I've never really paid attention to it, but no, I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, it's not something like you've ever went to test or that you've tested yourself.
No.
Again, kind of going back into it, we both kind of believe that when you invite something, you get something to answer, and we don't want that. Cressa, I don't like how you said, she walks the boulevard. That's horrifying. I drive that every day, and if I run into a ghost now while driving, at 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm driving to work, I'm yelling at you.
Just to let you know, I tend not to let them know what I see, because usually there's deer that comes across.
Oh my God! 3 times this last year, she sees a deer walking onto the street. I don't see the deer until it's right there.
It's majestic.
And she's like, "Oh, there's a deer in the street," and I'm like, "Did you not count? Like, how far out do you see it?" It's like, I saw it on the sidewalk. Like, could you not let me know? Give me a heads up. Like,
I was in love with nature. I needed to enjoy watching it walk.
I can't see out there. No, we have never tried communicating with the spirits in this house per se. Again, I don't want to invite anything. If you ask a question, something will answer. So I'm not looking to invite anything to my house.
Mediums, my thought on mediums is I feel that they are very not real. I don't feel that they're genuine.
The vast majority.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not impossible.
It is possible, but the ones that I've experienced,
There was the only one that we have ever seen was that one old guy, and then he ended up being on Ghost Hunters. Mm-hmm. But we were watching him before that, and we even messaged him a couple of times, and he's something about that old guy was different. But other than that, yeah. Your empath. That's what you said for my mom. My mom, I'm pretty sure, is where you can empathize, like you can feel what other people are feeling.
I mean, I think when I was younger, it definitely was a lot stronger. Mm-hmm. And I would probably say back then, for sure.
Right.
Because I definitely could. But I think over the years, I think it's kind of one of those things that I grew out of, if that makes sense.
And Krista, you are absolutely right. Communicating them and possibly helping them to the other side, that is definitely something. But with my faith, I pray for them and, pray for them to hopefully find Jesus in their way, and that's really hard to talk about for me. Like how do you help somebody who's already passed? There's that what is on the other side. So hopefully me praying for them, and that's even if it's the spirit, because it could be something else, and that's what you really have to be careful for is I truly do believe demons will try to hide and look like they're innocent, and they'll lie, trick, and get you into opening up a way for them to get to you. So I will not take that chance in my house for that. Now, like doing on for investigations and stuff, I would definitely do the sessions. Deadeye Junkie showed me the coolest thing yesterday, and he's doing the questions, and he gets a response. He's like, "Can you?" I forgot what the question. Like, can you make a knocking sound? And you hear the craziest knock in return, and the house was like the power and everything was off and on everything, and it was wild. I loved. I thank you again, Deadeye, for sharing that with us yesterday. That was really, really cool. But yeah, that's where I stand on that. Like, and I say my prayers every night and every morning, and I feel like when I do make sure I do them strong, I usually don't see anything. But we were kind of talking about what it could be, and there was a yes, you're absolutely right on that. Yeah. Demons can take the appearances of angels, Chris. That is definitely something. So again, that's why you have to be,
That's what you gotta know. You gotta know your book.
Yeah, you gotta know your book. So something that I kind of told you this a while back, and this is a feeling that I had. And once I thought about this, like it came to me in a dream, and I prayed about it. That's kind of when a lot of things stopped here. So something that we really didn't tell too many people about or anything, but and we never went into a doctor or anything to get it confirmed. But a while back, we do believe you had a miscarriage, and which is sad, but it things are what it is, and lining up a lot of the appearances and everything happened after. And part of me felt like that it could have been that. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But and I didn't really connect the two until recently. And like I said, something in a dream. Like I woke up and I'm like, well, that was a weird thought to have randomly after years of things going on, and something that I started praying about, and it seemed like ever since I started doing that, like it's kind of went away. Like I haven't felt the presence, or I haven't seen anything like randomly off to my side. And then you stopped saying that you kind of seen things and everything, right, that I want to say that it is. I appreciate it. We are strong believers that everything has a reason. And it's hard to I wanted my boy, but it is what it is. I have the greatest nephews I can ever ask for, and that's more than enough.
And they're very rambunctious.
Oh my God, I love it when they sleep over. Yeah. I get to see what it's like, especially my two youngest ones. They only sleep over like once every 3-4 months, but when they do, it is just like night and day between having girls and then having boys. Like they break everything.
I mean, not that our girls didn't.
Right.
It's just it's different, and even the volume in the house, because the girls were always loud, but it was that screeching.
Right.
Loud. With them, it's just just crash, bang.
So much testosterone in here. I love it. But it is what it is. And I don't know. Like it's just a weird feeling that I had that I felt like I needed to pray over, and it seemed like when I did it went away. Mm-hmm. But man, I think we did it, guys. Like this is my first one-on-one in-person interview. I will set up the room. We're slowly, very, very slowly, are going to be setting this up into a lot more comfortable. We'll have better chairs than fold-out chairs. We went shopping the other day.
Been brainstorming.
We have ideas. We're gonna probably paint this room, not this weekend, but next weekend. Start setting up little art, little desks and stuff. So, since I have you guys here, I want your honest opinion. And would you say, like, having us sit together, looking at the camera like this, or turn your chair, or if we were to have like a nice table in front of us and having a one-on-one discussion like this, does that look okay? Look at me. Now look back. Now look back at me. Like I have been messing with the camera feeds and stuff, trying to get it, because like I kind of like the idea of just us talking and everything. Then I'll have like my phone or my tablet, so I can have that right here, so I can read questions and everything. But yeah, maybe we'll just have to set everything up and see what it looks like, and then press play and see how everyone feels, or of just looking off together. I got a second camera, so I could have one camera on me and one camera on them. I just need to set it up. But like, I'm having fun. I think having an in-person interview was a lot nicer, because like I gotta be right here. But yeah, maybe a second camera. Yeah, Joe Rogan style. There we go. That's enough said.
Yeah.
Do need 3 cameras to do so? Are like saying that right there with the 3 cameras? That is actually something Ray brought up. We'll have 2 personal cameras, and then the third camera that's on both of us. And then throughout the thing, I'll like switch it through. And then Who's Jack gets it. That's honestly what I was kind of thinking.
See, I just needed another person to agree with me.
Yeah.
See, I have good ideas.
Well,
once in a while.
I like the fact that you like this, because you're going to be the one in charge of swapping the cameras.
I figured I would be.
Oh my God, guys, this was so much fun tonight. I loved all the questions. I hope our genuineness is showing on how much, like, we're so open on things. Like, it's funny because like people try to make fun of us and stuff, and I'm like, dude, you're is that the best you got? Like, come on, I'll give you another pool. Let's go.
Z probably. Lou, she gets distracted by
Oh my God. And then you'll just hear her talking and laughing in the background constantly.
Yeah, she'll definitely want to be part of.
Yeah. So she's ready to start doing stuff too. I'm like, you're not quite there. You need to learn to calm down. But yeah. So I think this is where we'll leave it. I feel great. You feel great. Wait, we need to leave on a positive note, because that is tradition.
Yes.
So first, before we take off, what's new in your life? What books are you reading? What TV shows are you watching?
I'm about to make a big change, a big leap in life, because I'm not a big risk taker, but I think, and it's not even a risk. It's I don't like change, but I think I'm getting ready to switch up my job.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm trying to take that I don't like change and look at it as new adventure, new lessons,
right.
Time to grow.
Time to grow. I love it. Any new movies, TV series, video games?
No, not at all. No.
She still watches Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I like my old school shows. It reminds me of a simpler time.
Yeah. It used to drive me crazy because that's all she would watch was Little House on the Prairie. I will sit down and watch any episode with her. It is so good. CT asked, are you pregnant?
No.
Sorry. We think she was a while back, but like I said, nope. Oh, did I? Yes. I will contact you on Discord, my friend. I've been doing this show every other Monday, so I take next Monday off, but the Monday after that, I'll send you the deets. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you. I think we are all here. We'll go try after this, okay?
You know, like he said, we're already in our 40s, and
but
I'm
healthier now than I ever was.
The
So
idea
let's
of
do this.
having another baby now, and then looking and us being older parents, I'm kind of starting to enjoy my freedom. I like the idea of being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and not have to focus around a baby. And I will roll with the punches.
That's right. But for right now, no, you stop it. Stop it. Oh, anyways, there goes my sister just making this awkward on me. Oh God, that's right. Adolfo, he's getting ready to have his 19th baby. No, I read that wrong.
Whoa! Slow down there. Slow down.
He's living the American dream. He's a brown kid like me. That's all we have is a bunch of kids. I only have the 3 daughters. I grew up with 3 sisters, and then I got old with 3 daughters. Until next time, guys, I love you all. Give them a signing off. You guys have a great night. I ripped out my ears. Oh, that hurt so bad. Oh, I love it. Have a good night, guys.
See ya.